Hello, family and friends. It's cold out. It's cold out. I got myself up this morning, and I don't know, for whatever reason, I must have got enough sleep. I didn't do too much agony to get myself up and get my coffee this morning. Um, but here I am, ready to roll for the day and do what I can do for me and for society. Now, it's not. Hopefully, it's not going to be a long video today. I'm just going to make it short, as short as I can, and to get my point across. But I guess I want to talk about why do we do the things that we do, and why do we do them the way we do them. That I mean, and it pertains to me, it pertains to you, it pertains to everybody. And I can look at other people and say, God, I wouldn't do that way. Why are they doing that? Why are they doing that? And me and my daughter talk about it, and of course, and we're similar. I mean, she's got her ways, and I've got my ways. I mean, the first time I actually noticed that people don't do things the same, even though I raised her after she got up and got her own life, her own family, and started cooking. She don't even come close to making chili the same way I do. I grew up making it simple, right? I never heard tell of her doing doing it the way she does it. And and so here's how she even makes the ingredients. I'm not sure, but what really took me back was putting cornbread on top, spreading it on top, and then putting it in the oven and baking it, right? I mean, it's good. It's really good. But I'm thinking to myself, where did she come up with that idea? Because there was not the kind of internet that you could get on and find this stuff out back then when she started this out. So, and her and I can look at some of our family members and say, now, why would they do that? Why would they do that way? Why? What are they thinking? And it's not necessarily bad stuff. It's just it wouldn't even come into our mind to do it that way. And it could be something simple like not wanting to have any furniture except for a bed, maybe a chair. Of course, stuff to cook with, but not a bunch. And we can't fathom in our mind, how can you be comfortable? How can you have a comfortable life like that? And then you've got people that they're asking for help, and because they're down on hard times, and of course, and that's what the program thinks, that they're down on their luck, and they need help, and okay, we'll sign you up, get you all signed up, and the different things, different documents and stuff they have to have, and in order for them to decide whether or not they're eligible, and different things like that. And of course, a lot of them don't understand why I did this, I did that, or you can't get them to do it. It's like they're too busy doing other things that they feel is more essential than turning these papers and these documents in. And then you go to the other end of it. They've been on the program for X amount of months and stuff. Now it's time to renew, and they get the paperwork that says it's time for them to renew, and I don't even like this word, but they don't follow the compliance that they need to comply to stay on the program. They need to recertify. They need to respond to this piece of paper that they got or email that they got that it's time to recertify. And they just totally ignore it. And I think to myself, how can you be so involved with aspects of your life that is not putting you in a position to grow, to have a better, more comfortable, substantial life, one where you can do things and enjoy yourself? Uh, what are you thinking? That whatever it is that you're doing seems to be so important to you that you can't do this one simple task. Recertify, get in touch with the people you need to get in touch with, and or they ask you, well, has there been any financial changes? Has there been any kind of changes in your life? You've got to report that. People don't report that. When they're told very specifically, are they not listening? Are they just got themselves in such a mindset that I'm over here doing this, I'm too busy doing this to even bother to think that it's this time I need to do this, but even though they get a paper saying you need to do this. So my mind just boggles, and I'm sure, I'm sure there's many other people that look at me and say, now, why would she do that? Why is she? I know my daughter does. So sometimes and she'll, Mom, why do you want to do that? It's like when I met this friend, and I wanted to go down and meet this friend, and I did, and she couldn't understand why I wanted to do that. Mom, haven't you already been through enough in life, so to speak? Why would you want to put yourself in another position like that? Not thinking, though, she had no clue what was in my mind, why I wanted to do it. It was something I needed to do for me in my life. And so we look around and we wonder why there's all these homeless people out here. We wonder why somebody has all this money that maybe they won the lottery or something like that, and they go out there and they start spending, and then before you know it, they're broke and right back where they started from. And we can't fathom why they're in that position. Why people that are homeless, why they're in that position. Well, there's many, many reasons. And one of the reasons that I want to talk about, it has to do with the pharmaceutical and the medical system, the field of medicine and diagnoses and stuff like that. And the medical field has so many diagnoses that they can put on a person and label them this or that or whatever. And just for a simple idea, it's like fibromyalgia. They have not got a clue what causes that all over body pain and the tiredness and all different things like that. They have a little bit of a clue, but not much. But they named it. And this is what it does if you're told you've got fibromyalgia. Well, I accepted that, and now I own it. I am a human being that is saddled with a muscle disease that can never be cured. But they don't know how to fix it. They don't know what to do for it. Now they say that they can give you, it's called Cymbalta. And, yeah, alright, I tried it one time. We'll do that again. One dosage put me down for 3 days. I slept for 3 days. And my brother had to take care of Sassy for it. So, okay, so then now that the medical field has, and of course again, I gotta go back to 8 billion people on this planet that each have their own concepts, their own perception of something. And, and of course a lot of them are in the medical field. And they have their different ideas about why this is that doing that, and why this is doing that. And so they all collaborate together and come up with labels. So if somebody comes along and they're acting all wild and crazy and not acting like society thinks they ought to act like, then they shove them into the something wrong with their brain, something wrong with their mental capacity, and they start putting labels on them. Well, then people start taking on those labels as that's who they are, like schizophrenic. And of course, what happens nowadays, you can really research, but back in the day, you just looked it up in a dictionary or whatever when you're labeled with that. This is the signs and the symptoms of being a schizo. Well, your brain is so genius, it's like a computer, and between your brain with the subconscious and everything, and the way you were raised, you wrap that all together like a AI would and come up with a character for yourself. Well, this is who I am. I've got besides schizo. I've got a borderline personality disorder. Well, they say that she's a narcissist. And there's many, many more labels that they've got, right? And of course, a lot of these people that really truly know that down deep inside they're not like that, they won't take that medicine that they throw out there to them. Because that's just who they are. All right, they were traumatized as a child, maybe, or maybe something else happened along the way. That's just like back in well, what years it was, I don't know, Dark Ages or whatever. Some of these women and some men sometimes would come along, was able to use their intuition so well, and they were herbalists and stuff like that, and they could mix up some herbs and stuff like that would heal people of different things. And or their intuition would say, well, you're doing this or you're doing that or whatever. So they concluded, human beings concluded that they were witches. So we got to get rid of the witches. And that was their medical discernment of why they acted the way they acted. So they burned them at the stake. Well, today they label people with these different things, and people that are easily susceptible to accepting that diagnosis will start forming a character with that, and they they tell their story that way. This is my story. I'm a schizo, and I'm either taking meds or I refuse to take meds because I know really uh, I can function without the medicine, although they hold on to the label, and that's why a lot of people do some of the things that they do and how they do it. They've got their own genuine way of thinking, and uh, can't coincide with somebody else that thinks totally different, so they stay to themselves and or high. And I did a video about high maintenance people that I believe are really truly what are the middle class people, but without a whole lot of money. They've been labeled poor from the time that they were little, and although they're high functioning, high achievers, and they want to make their life better, it's instilled in them, and people call them dreamers, pipe dreaming, because they've got these grand ideas with no money to make it happen. And they still haven't quite pulled themselves away from the subconscious programming that they got all their life. They've got that poor mentality, that poor mindset that causes them to speak to themselves that they're not worth this, they're not worth that. I could never do this, I could never do that. I don't have the money, I can't afford to do that. But yet they've got this high achievement, that they've got these dreams that they just know that if they have the money, they could do that. And they keep trying to find ways. Some people will go to the point of even robbing banks. Some people will go to the point of finding ways. They use that high achievement, that creativity, to find ways to get money to do this or that or whatever by scamming people. I mean, so it's like it's just an endless cycle. And until we realize that we don't have to do what we do based on what other people will think or not think or whatever, and just go on and try to live a peaceful life, a simple life, and still do what we want to do that makes us happy without hurting anybody or without breaking the laws. Because we do live on this planet, and there are laws that civilization put into place so that, and the reason why civilization was put in place, so people could come together and be there for one another and help one another and share together. But it has gotten so out of hand anymore that nobody wants to support anybody, nobody wants to help anybody out, and they take that idea that put you first and then you help other people. They've taken that idea to a whole extreme, and they help themselves and do for themselves, but don't use their gifts and their talents and their money to help pull somebody else up. But here's the thing: there are people out there that do that, that take their time and their energy and try to take somebody over here that says they want to improve in life and use their money and every resources to help them. But these people, even though they're high achievers, or think they're high achievers, and they're still living under the concept of the programming that their subconscious mind picked up as they were growing up, and people programmed them into I don't deserve this, or I can't do this, or they've convinced themselves that there's no way that they could do it. So the person that's got the money and the time and the energy and the genius to come over here and help them, they can only help them so long because they're not improving, they're not coming up. So there's another thing, you have to know who you're dealing with, why they are like they are, and if there's uh, no way of helping them until they change. And like I keep telling everybody, and now I keep telling, somebody said to me, they were on there and I was talking about protesting, and why would you want to go out and do something like that, end your existence, or take the chance of doing that? Uh, but they come back and they said, well, protesting, yeah, changes things, and but it don't. You see that all the chaos it causes, especially when you got people that have all these issues like I just been talking about, and so they cause chaos. I lost my train of thought. Hold on a minute. Um, but she said all of that, and of course somebody else come in to argue the point. But that person said, "Well, did I have any suggestions how to make the change?" Well, the change begins in each one of us, and whoever the creator is of humanity, whether or not there was something before that, and they were beings from another planet or the celestial skies, or whether it was us ourselves that put us here, and it doesn't really matter at this point in time, outside the fact that we got to learn that there's something placed in each one of us that we will get what we speak. Remember the saying, if you think or believe you can, or if you think or believe you can't, that's the way your life will go. So people speak these subconscious thoughts that they've been programmed with all their life. They speak them, and it just keeps bouncing back to them, bouncing back to them, and bouncing back to them. Now, if you're a high achiever, and you keep speaking high achieving things, that things are going to be good, things are the all over source, whoever you believe, that makes your words happen, because speaking is asking, speaking is praying, and when you say I am, you're using uh, the Creator's name. Because in Moses, he said, Moses was on top of the hill and said, the burning bush, and his burning bush supposedly talked to him. But I think he was meditating. And of course, when you close your eyes and you meditate, there's a light that'll come in there. Sometimes mine is purple, sometimes it's a bright light. But if you meditate long enough, and you're fasting and different things, then that light will get real, real bright. So in amongst that, he heard the Creator speaking to him. I am that I am. I am that over there. I am this over here. I am everything. I am you. So when we speak I am, anything that comes behind I am, that's what the Creator within you is going to cause to come to you. And I know a lot of you cannot understand that concept, but try. At least try. So, but that is some of the reasons. Those are just some of the reasons why we do some of the things that we do. I do what I do in this camper because I'm a high achiever. I'm very creative, and if I don't like something, if it's not making me comfortable, if it's making me feel ill, if it's making me feel fidgety, if it's not giving me what I need to complete, and I don't like to use the word task, but it does become a task. It becomes a chore if you don't have what you need to make it come easier and comfortable. And at my age, at 81, naturally, I want things a little bit more comfortable than what I did when I was younger. So that's why I do what I do here. Even doing these videos, I'm trying my best to find an easier way to make them more pleasant, to make the opening dialogue better and stuff. And you can only do so much with the equipment and the knowledge that you know how to do it. So I use my phones a lot to do it. AI does provide some stuff. YouTube provides some stuff. Now I have on my phone the picture app, and when I take a picture in the camera and stuff, they are providing better ways of making the picture move and stuff like that. You can type across the picture and put it in the video and things like that. So that's why I do some of the things I do. So look around at your life and diagnose yourself. Don't let the doctors diagnose you. My God, they'll tell you your loony is a loony bin. You need to be put in the loony bin. No, do it for yourself. And recognize why you do the things you do. And you don't need to explain yourself to other people unless it's somebody that's giving you a hard time, like family member or something. If you can sit them down, maybe possibly explain to them why you do some things that you do the way you do them. So in order for you to get along better, like here, me, I love my family. I love my daughter, and I live here on her property. And since I wasn't a very good mother in the past, and didn't raise them the way they needed to be raised, I bring some of that back with me. And people, they have a hard time understanding that I've got different motives for why I'm doing what I'm doing. So, but anyway, a merry heart doeth good like medicine, and that's in Proverbs. So if you're always laughing, got yourself laughing, and make a point of making yourself laugh. Find movies to watch that's going to make you laugh, belly laugh until the tears roll down your face. That'll bring the dopamine out in where you need your body and your psyche to feel good. Don't let your spirit be broken by scrolling on Facebook, Snapchat, X, YouTube. Put that away. Unless you're looking for things and different situations, if you're doing a YouTube channel, if you're doing Rumble or whatever, if you need it for your job, for your work, but make sure you put a limit on it. Don't get all tangled up in that fantasy world. And take time to sit and relax, even if you have a job. If you're on break at your job, don't sit there and scroll, 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 scroll. Don't look at any of that. Just sit and think about how good life is and how you can make yourself happy without hurting anyone. And as a man thinks and believes in his heart, that's the direction he will pull himself, he will drive himself into whether it's good or whether it's bad. And if you believe you can or if you believe you can't, you're right. You have a great day. Hugs and kisses, everybody. Love y'all. Have a great, awesome day. And we'll see you at the next video.